Welcome to Life Together with Brodie. I'm your host, Brodie. Today's guest is me, and I'm here because there's a strange kind of pain that comes not from falling, but from that realizing and that realization that you get when you're the one whose grip is slipping. And today I'm going to tell you a story. It's my story. Not the highlight reel, not the social media reel, the deep, raw story. The climb, the fall, the long, messy, brutal freaking middle. Oh my God. And the slow, stubborn rise back towards something better. There was a time when I was living at what I call Peak Brodie, right? Resonating at a high frequency, just aligned, strong, joyful. My life was great. There were so many things that were awesome. I was full of love. I was letting my light shine. Things were happening in my life and it felt really good. And then little by little, heartbreak, isolation, fear, they chipped away at this foundation that I had built up. And not all at once. This doesn't happen quickly. It happens slowly, piece by piece, until one day I looked around and I realized I didn't actually recognize the man I was becoming. In fact, I really didn't like that guy. I also realized, and this was the hard truth, I was scared to admit that I didn't like that guy and the direction I was going. I was scared to ask for help. I was scared to own my pain. And so this is a story about how fear and anxiety took the wheel of my life and how I finally took control back. It's a story about community and how important that is, about healing, about rebuilding trust with yourself. And it's about why today I'm not just climbing for Peak Brodie again. I'm becoming something even stronger. I'm becoming someone even more brave and courageous. And I'm becoming a little bit more alive every day. So let's get into it. Like I said, a handful of years ago, about 7 years ago, I was operating at Peak Brodie. And this is really just thriving, everything that I was doing was going really, really, really well. I felt really, really good. I was thriving at work. I was being really creative. I worked at Gateway Academy, and what was magical about working at Gateway Academy was I was sought after and brought into this community. And Gateway Academy community, the culture there is extremely loving. This is a group of teachers and faculty that our only purpose is to help these neurodiverse young people, 6th to 12th grade, learn and grow and cultivate the best versions of themselves, to give them the best opportunity moving into adulthood, to get through high school and move into adulthood. And I loved it. I had purpose. I had people that I worked with where I'm a creative person, so I was free to create and to come up with curriculums, different things. And I had a group of people that I worked with who were able to give me that feedback and say, great, we like this vision, here's how we can do it. So I had like-minded people. We had a same vision, we had a mission, we had a similar alignment, and we cared about each other and we cared about our purpose and our mission. So I was living awesome. Had a little private practice on the side, doing some counseling, and life was going great. I was in a personal relationship that was a great fit for me. So it was really, I just felt great. I was in a wonderful place in my life. And then I started to have some decline. We're going to call this the fall, the descent. And what happened first was in my personal life, what I thought was going to happen didn't happen. So my plan got disrupted. And in a relationship, you get to choose your half. You get to show up and choose your half. Well, I chose my half and the other person didn't choose the same as me, and that broke my heart. Eventually, it dawned on me that what I had was really something kind of special, and it didn't work out. So I had some legit heartbreak. And what that did for me was it made me really think about myself and reflect and And it actually put me in a pretty dark place. I started to get down on myself. And to make the matters worse, this was in 2020, and I was isolated. It was COVID. So I was no longer physically at the school getting love and support and feeling the love and support of all the people that I worked with. The main person in my life was no longer there who was giving me that personal love and support. I'm a father of 4, so all that stress of being a dad started to just really hit pretty hard. And I started to decline. I started to decline in my mental and emotional state, particularly my emotional state. And that really hurt my self-esteem. And what happens to Brodie, Peak Brodie, when he starts going down, is he goes down quick. And I ended up living in survival mode. And I call it adult survival mode. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about what I mean. And what I mean is, if I'm 100% Peak Brodie, things are going great, you'll know because I'm shining, right? I'm caring, I'm loving, I'm selfless, I'm serving, I'm doing all the things that make the world better. And I feel great, right? I love that. Well, I didn't have that, man. I was slowly going down. Like so many people during COVID, when we're having a hard time emotionally, when we get isolated and we're having a hard time emotionally, and then we're by ourselves with our thoughts, we tend to ruminate. I ruminated on my problems. I ruminated on the struggles, on the hardship, and it killed my self-esteem. If you, incidentally, if you work with a therapist or a counselor, and that counselor sits you down and you talk about all the hard problems and struggles you have and all those tough feelings, get the freak out of that office. Because that is, sitting there talking about all that terrible stuff is not actually going to help you deal with that terrible stuff. So there's a fun tip for you for the day. And I knew that. And I got to tell you, the importance of at least having survival strategies and survival, and I call them survival strategies because I had to do, and I was able to do, at least the basic bare minimum. That's what I could push myself to do. So I was surviving as an adult. As an adult, I got responsibilities. I got bills to pay. I got a job to do. I got a family. I got 4 kids that I get part-time, and I got to deal with stuff. So I wasn't in thriving mode anymore. I wasn't Peak Brodie. I wasn't being creative. I had sunk down, but I was in survival. And so there are a few things that help me stay there. And I do want to share these with you because I think they're extremely important. Because if I can't do the basic survival, then I go below that red line. And it just gets really hard. That's where people get they lose all hope. And I didn't lose all hope. I had hope. I just didn't know how to get there. So the things that helped me survive, because these are the habits that I'd created that at least help me function. And so getting exercise, it's always been something that's part of my life. And being able to exercise was paramount. And because it was a habit for me, because it was something I had cultivated as a habit, I was able to do it, even when I was really low. Now, I like to work out 5-6 times a week. When I was at this low part in my life, it might have only been 2-3 times, maybe 4 on a really good week, but at least 3 times of good workout is what they suggest. You got to do something. So I had that, so that was good. I have a habit of learning. I want to read and listen to podcasts and learn good things. Now again, Peak Brodie, man, he soaks in everything all day, every day. He's reading and learning all the time. I wasn't at Peak Brodie, man. I was at like 50% Brodie. And so 50% Brodie is still listening to some podcasts, still reading some, but it's very minimal. But it's a habit that I had, right? For me, one of the biggest things that helps me stay sane, and one of the reasons why I actually wanted to start the podcast, was because there is no one thing that helps people stay emotionally healthy. And this thing for me was music. And I think that resonates with a lot of people. The type of music we listen to is going to impact how we feel. And I've known that. And I've also known that about myself, that when I feel a certain way and I want to lift myself up, I know exactly what playlist I need to play. And that helped keep me sane. Now, keep in mind, these are all Band-Aids, right? These helped me survive. They did not heal me, but they were very helpful. The other thing that you'll get to know, especially if you, the more you get to know me, is I really like quoting and being a part of like my pop culture. See, I was born in the early 80s, which meant I got to grow up. I got to be a kid in the 80s, which was awesome. That meant I lived on a bike with my friends in the neighborhood riding around. It was fantastic. And then I got to continue to grow through the 90s. And what's great about that was back in the day when SNL was awesome. That was back in the day when MTV was still awesome. That was back in the day when on a Friday night you got with your friends and you went to this magical place called Blockbuster. And you went and you talked with your friends and you had to coordinate and figure out what movie are we going to rent today. That was before everything was at your fingertips. That was when you had to go do something and be with your people, be with your friends, your community. So I feel very fortunate. And I love quoting movies, quoting old SNL. I find that you can pull in quotes in just about any situation. So quoting old Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, their movies, their SNL bits, all of that stuff. Certainly quoting like Tombstone, some of my favorite movies. Like these things show up and they're great. And so I still had these things and I still had these ways of surviving. I'm not kidding. When I felt really low, when I felt like I didn't have the energy to tackle some of the hard things in my life, pop on Tommy Boy. No one's dumber than Tommy, and he can run a company. And he runs it not because he's wise or because he has any, he runs it because he cares about the people. No, it's a friggin' fantastic movie, and by the way, there's like a billion one-liners in there. So if you haven't seen Tommy Boy and you're maybe not from my generation, you definitely should. So here I am. I'm in survival mode. I have things that help keep me sane. I got my kids, and I love to play with my kids. So anytime I had my kids, that energy at least came out a little more. My kids help bring me up 5 to 10% better, man, every time. They're fantastic. And I had my movies, and I had my clips, and I had my music, and I had my exercise, and I was still getting things in. So these habits are so important. I mean, I'm going to do a podcast on the importance of cultivating really good habits. Because when life isn't going our way, our habits are what can keep us at least sane. But it didn't heal me. I needed some healing. I needed some healing in my mind. I needed some healing in my spirit. And so I knew I needed this. So I started this journey. So about 2 years ago, in 2023, I started going, you know what? I need more than this. I need to reach out. I need to find something. I need to grow. I need to get something that I need. So I followed my intuition one day. I was driving around the Woodlands and I saw a holistic store. Okay, you know, crystals, all that kind of good stuff. And I was like, all right, well, I love that kind of style. I've always kind of been drawn to it. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna check this out. I've driven past it a few times. So I walked into the holistic store off Sawdust Road in the Woodlands, which is no longer there, which is okay. But, and I walked in and I talked to the owner a little bit. Her name's Brenda, and she's awesome, first off. I shared a little bit about, you know, who I was. I was just interested in literally find like a bracelet or maybe a necklace or something. And she asked me a few questions. She got to know me a little bit. She asked what I did, and I shared that. And then I asked her some questions like, well, what do you do here? Because they had all these different services, energy work, Reiki, all this. It was all new to me. I had no idea what she was talking about, but I knew that it was a safe place. I could feel her energy. She was the only one there that day. And rather than go in and buy a bracelet or a necklace and then be done, I went in and we started talking. And 2.5 hours later, we were still talking. And I was sharing all kinds of things. And I was clear that I was looking for some kind of help and support. And up until that time, I was pretty much what I like to call an arrogant atheist, right? An AA, right? And the problem with that, for me, the struggle for me is that I kind of had lost my sense of spirit. Kind of had given up and said, no, there's not much to any of that. Let's just be logical. And what that did to me was it killed my heart. And she helped reopen that. And she introduced me to another wonderful lady who I met with a few times and did some ceremony with. Her name's Bonnie Divina Ma. And she is a beautiful, wonderful soul who helped me tap in to some deeper parts of myself. And what became evident was I got some healing to do. I got some wounds. In the psychology world, we call that trauma. I got some trauma. I got some generational trauma. I got some personal trauma that I kind of knew I had. I just didn't understand it very well. And again, this was something that I would ruminate on and then I would beat myself up about because I'm a counselor. How do I not do this for myself? So if you're a counselor, even if you're a counselor who sees a counselor, which is what we really should be doing from time to time to get some help and support, if you still feel stuck, if you still feel like I'm doing these things, I should know better. If you're the average person or if you're a young person and you thinking to yourself and you get caught in these thought circles of, I know what I need to do, I just can't do it. And that makes me feel like a failure, makes me feel stupid, makes me feel embarrassed. And I hate that. I hate it. It's losing to me. You're losing at life. And I hate losing. You know, I love to win. Everyone loves to win. It feels good when we win. And I love it. But I hate to lose. I don't have to win. As long as I'm heading in the right direction, man, I don't like losing. It's really tough. And that's what it felt like. It felt like I was losing at life. So I met with Bonnie. I did some ceremony. I got my mind a little bit better. So 50% Brodie became 55, 60% Brodie. Started making some headway. So I started getting to this space where I was feeling a little better. But I also knew as I was feeling a little better, there's more that I got to do. And so I had that on my mind. And this was last year, 2024. And so I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like I'm becoming more of who I am. I'm on this journey of healing. And then I hit a couple new really tough situations for me. 2 tough, really life situations. And really, they're not terrible life situations for me, but they were really big shots to my ego. That first shot to my ego, having my heart broken, thinking about I'm all of this, and then it got taken away from me, that was a shot to my ego. Well, I started rebuilding, and then last summer, I got let go from being at the place that I love. They no longer needed me there. And I had another side gig, and they no longer needed me there. And so this is a reality of life, you guys. How you show up matters. Being healthy matters. We live in a society of Band-Aids. I've been putting Band-Aids and trying to mask all kinds of things. And what that did was it made me perform at 50% peak Brodie. And you know what 50% peak Brodie gets? He's not creative, he's not helpful, he's not loving. So he can function at a job, but he's not doing it from the best place. He's not doing it from his heart. People feel that. So 50% Brodie at work comes off as arrogant because I know the stuff, but I don't have the heart to connect with other people. And when you don't have that heart, you come off selfish and arrogant and rude. And I definitely did. And I owe people apologies for that. And I made those apologies. You got to repair that damage. But the damage exists, and I created it. I created it by not choosing to live. And so that hurt my reputation. It did. I felt that. And then I felt more. So I had started to climb up. I'm 60%, and then boom, I hit these really 2 tough situations for me. And I kind of dropped back down to 50. And for the end of 2024, kind of just operated on 50%. Now, in my personal life, I actually was with someone who was phenomenal and who showed me a wonderful way to live authentically. And she is beautiful in so many ways. She helped me find some peace. She helped me better understand the importance of integrating things into your actual soul. Not just hearing them, but putting them into action so they become a part of you. She's brilliant. She's an artist and a musician, and she's brilliant, amazing. And we didn't stay together. We're friends, and I'm so happy that we're friends. But she also showed me some patterns that I had and how those show up in a personal relationship. So I had to face that. Now, here's an important part of my story: is up until the fall of 2024, I'd pretty much been doing as much as I can, but I was doing it alone. I was making the progress, trying to heal myself alone. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, this is not an I statement, this is a human statement. When you are hurt, when you are in need of support and healing, you will not be able to do it alone. Men in particular, I'm talking to you because I was raised where my belief patterns, my thinking and belief patterns were, I can figure it out. You're a man, you sure as shit better figure it out. You better not let your emotions show, and you better just solve the problems. Because that's what men do. And they don't whine about it, they don't complain about it. They sure as shit don't need help. You just do it. You want to learn how to swim? You jump in the deep end. You're either going to figure out how to swim or you're going to die. Like, that's how I grew up. That's the mentality that I have. And I got some raw, powerful, masculine energy. When that doesn't actually have a healthy support, it means everything's on me, and I don't know everything. I don't even know everything about myself, you guys. So how can I do this? Well, I figured out and was introduced. I didn't figure out. I was introduced by Carl Shaw, who's a man I greatly admire, who is a man who has a lot of hardship and pain in his story. And for some reason, this dude is freaking like happy. He's joyful. He has a lot of support. And I saw this and he said, hey, do you know what Mankind Project is? Like, this is where I get my support. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he sends me a link to Mankind Project. I go to the website and I don't even have to read very much to go, I need this. Boom, sign me up. And let me just explain. I'll go into that another time. In fact, we'll talk more about the importance of having men to support other men. But the reality and the simple version is this: if you're a teenager, young man, or a grown man, and you are frustrated, you feel overwhelmed with who you're supposed to be, you don't have the courage to do the things that you want to do, you're not going to grow up and become a powerful man by yourself. You're not. And women, I love you. I think you are amazing. We need you in our lives. But moms, aunts, women, you are not capable of teaching a young man or a psychologically young man, which is what I was. You're not capable of helping me become a man of integrity, a man with bold courage, and a man who leans and trusts other men. That comes from working on yourself with other men. That's how that works. Men, we need you. Fathers, we need you. Uncles, we need you. We got a lot of young men growing up who have no idea what it means to be a freaking man in this world. And because of that, I think we have a lot of chaos. I had a lot of chaos. So I needed men to hold some space for me, to love me and honor my journey and my pain. And I have got that. So I really got some spiritual growth and power. And it was fantastic. So here I am. I have a great person in my life. I have men supporting me. And that brings us to 2025, January 2025. I've been without a full-time salary and job for a few months. I'm feeling that. I'm definitely feeling that. I got private practice, which is going okay. But I also realized I need something else. I kind of need a few things to really get over the hump here. And the beginning of 2025, personal life, I needed to fix some things. Separated from our dating relationship, and she, again, she shared with me some feedback about some of my patterns and how they show up, and it was extremely hard to hear. In fact, it pissed me the freak off, and it was so important for me to hear, and I was able to shift, and she helped me see that. So that was a huge personal win. I knew that I have gifts, I have talents, and I want to grow my business. I want to expand. So I needed to find some community. But I've always been the type of person who focused on my immediate job. And I'm a counselor. I'm in psychology. I work with teens. So that's the arena that I focus in for the last 20 years of my life. And I didn't really focus on finances, business strategy, marketing, networking, how to set up and run an effective business that actually stays afloat financially. I didn't know any of that stuff. I have an entrepreneurial spirit for sure, but I don't have that education. And what do you do when you need something and you don't have it? A lot of people, a lot of adults, they just go try and go figure it out. I'm gonna YouTube this, I'm gonna do this. So I did some of that, but the reality is I needed people, I needed help. So I found BNI, which is great. Business Networking International. If you're familiar, if you like it, you don't like it, that's fine. For me, I went to a BNI group chapter and I said, this is a little uncomfortable. Well, I have a philosophy about being uncomfortable. When I'm at Peak Brodie and I'm uncomfortable, if it's something that's good for me, if it's something that's valuable, I just do it, despite being uncomfortable. So I went to a BNI group, found a chapter in Spring Klein that is awesome. It's the vibe that I want. These people aren't just showing up and pretending to be friends and business associates. They care about each other. They're helping each other in their personal lives, and they're invested in each other. So I was on board. So I got a little support. I reached out, and in my spiritual growth, I've reconnected with some people who are acquaintances, and I realized I kind of needed two things to really get over the hump here. I need to actually share my story. I need to be open and vulnerable with my story, and then I need a community for what I do in my job. So in my personal life, I've got support. I've got men supporting my growth. I reached out and have reconnected with a friend named Jen Brickhouse, and we're on similar healing journeys. So we really connected and were able to share and grow together. And she actually introduced me and brought me to a somatic breathwork session. And the facilitator of that's Danny Stedman. And I'm going to take a minute to tell you about Danny, because Danny gave me an opportunity last week. And now we're getting to the end here. We're getting to what's happened in the last week in my life. And I've needed two things for a long time. I've needed to be able to share my story vulnerably outside of my comfort zone. My comfort zone is Mankind Project. My warrior brothers, man, I'm pretty comfortable going in there. I can share whatever I want. I can cry in a group of men, not a big deal. They got me, right? I can talk with Jen and with some other close people about my journey, and I can get support and continue to grow. So I'm starting to cultivate friendships that are meaningful and deep. I got that. What I don't have is I don't have a space, or I didn't take the opportunity to be vulnerable in real life and with other people outside my family and those places. And Danny provided me this opportunity. Last week, I recorded with Danny on her podcast, Perfectly Broken, which is one, an amazing title. An amazing title, because all of us have pain and hurt and are broken in some way. And we need to rebuild, right? We need to reset some of the ways that we're broken. And she didn't even know this. She didn't even know that I'd never done this. So we recorded this session where I'm just telling about the spiritual part of my journey, which had a lot to do with working with other men. And she said, oh, this is great. Like, that was fantastic. And I sent her a text saying, thank you. And it was a really powerful thank you, because this was the first time I'd shared my story with anyone outside of my immediate, close-knit spiritual groups. And she got to be the person who held that space for me. And it opened up a lot for me. I felt so relieved to be able to do that. And so that helped me grow. Now I'm at, last week, started the week at 65% Brodie, 75% Brodie, easy, 75% Brodie. Just being able to share honestly what's going on in your life with someone makes a huge difference. It's how we connect with each other. It's why we need people in our lives, so that we can share that with each other. So I shared that on her podcast. Can't wait for it to come out. I'll share it with you for sure. Perfectly Broken. Danny Stedman. Awesome. Awesome. So I started to shift. And what really made that special is I was still kind of masking my story. I was sharing, if someone wanted to talk to me, I would share like the positive things, but I didn't share the vulnerable stuff. I'm not doing that. That's uncomfortable. So I shared my spiritual journey, and then I got primed up. The man who introduced me to ID Life was Brian Altman. He's in my BNI group, and I got to listen to him. And here's what I found out. I found out something that I'd always actually really internally and instinctively known. I have known that your mental and emotional health, how you process the world and how you navigate the world, that's your self-esteem. That's how we, right? Like, our mental and emotional health is so important. And I've always known that our physical health hugely impacts our mental and emotional health. I don't think that's rocket science. I think it's pretty basic. The more physically healthy you are, the easier it is for your mind and your spirit to operate. I've always felt like I was a reasonably healthy individual. I certainly exercise, but I won't lie to you. I still love my pizza. Still love a beer. Oh man, God gave us beer for a reason, and it's so freaking delicious. I can't even handle it. It's so good. Brian Altman, he did his presentation at BNI on ID Life. And I love anything that's wholeness, wellness, that helps us grow, I'm a fan of. And he's talking about this nutrition, and there's one part that absolutely caught my eye. Now, when I was with my most recent ex-girl, she was really healthy. She ate clean. She took all kinds of like vitamins that were really good for her. And just that influence was really great for me. It's one of the things that I really appreciated about just being in the same space as someone who cares so much about how their body operates. And I've not treated my body, aside from working out, that great, right? Like, I've made small improvements over time, but I've never given it my full attention. And I wanted to do that. It's been on my mind for the last 3 or 4 months. Like, I really need to figure this out. I need to take vitamins. I need to, make sure my body's getting what it needs. But like many people, when I know I need something, but I don't know what the next steps are, I kind of just sit there. And I'm like, okay, well, I need that. I guess it'll come around when it comes around. Ha ha ha. And I just kind of float through life and keep going. Well, I heard Brian speak, and one of the things that blew me away was he said at ID Life, they can custom tailor, right? And I'm gonna not get this right, but you can take a DNA swab test and send that off, and then they're gonna send you back a nutrition and exercise, essentially like plan, and all the details about how you genetically are and what your body genetically needs, unique to you. So I don't have to guess. I don't know if you've ever been. If you're new to vitamins and you walk down the aisle of vitamins at the grocery store or at a whole, wellness store or something like that, there's not like 5 or 10 B vitamins to choose from. There's like 40,000, right? Like there's like a gazillion. I went into a wellness store. They had a row that was, no shit, it seemed like 30 yards, right? And all it was vitamins. Do you know how overwhelming that is to me? I got some pains. I got some joint pain. I'm 43. I'm starting to get a little achy, right? I try and stay active, but I clearly am not getting my body what it needs. And I have no idea what to get. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try this one, and I guess I'll try this one. And $60 later, I got 4 bottles of pills that are vitamins, and to be honest, I have no idea if they're even important for me. So this was the world I was in, literally. And when Brian said, you can do a DNA swab, send it off, and you're gonna get back exercise and nutrition guide specific to you, I about lost my freaking mind. I'm not kidding, I was blown away. And then what's even more is ID Life Nutrition puts every vitamin that I need, every single one, prepackaged 30 days, morning, evening, whatever it is. So all I do is pull a package out. I don't even have to know. I just pull a package out. Here's my morning vitamins. Poof, done. Tailored to me. Not to what I think. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know what I'm doing. Not to what Brodie thinks, but to what Brodie's body actually needs on a genetic... This is crazy, you guys. That was it. I was like, are you freaking serious? Do you know how many teenagers, parents that I work with, but certainly teenagers and young adults who have shit nutrition? Right? It's amazing. I work with neurodivergent individuals. These individuals have legitimate sensory issues. So certain foods, man, the texture, they have aversions to these things. It's very real. So getting proper nutrition to my teenager, my young adult who's neurodiverse and who needs additional support, it's freaking hard. I talk to parents who are like, I can't get my kid to eat anything this green. There's no vegetable, nothing. So we got a whole population of people who are not getting what their body needs, but they can take a bunch of pills that mask symptoms, and that doesn't heal. Our bodies are designed incredibly. If you don't believe in divine design, I don't even care. The fact that we're here, you can look at this from a spiritual perspective, from a medical perspective, it doesn't matter. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves when we give it what it needs. And we don't know. I don't know. So I was jumped on board and immediately, sign me up. I'll take the vitamins. Hell yeah, I know I need vitamins. I'm 43. When I'm 53, I don't want to look like I'm 60. When I'm 60, I want to look like I'm 45. You know what I'm saying? And so I jumped on board. I'm on board. I know that I need physical nutritional health so that I can reach peak Brodie. And I'm at about 80% after I spoke with Danny last week and got to share my story. I'm pretty fired up. I'm like, all right, man, I'm getting close. I'm feeling pretty good. Right? Let's get ready to go. Let's get it on. We ready. You know what I mean? And I needed this extra little boost, so I'm on board. Clean energy. If you drink, oh my gosh, I used to drink energy drinks. And I can't even pronounce all the stuff that's in them, but I'm pretty sure a lot of what's in them, aside from the caffeine, is just shit. Not healthy. It's actually making my body work harder. Now, I might get some energy. I might even get the jitters, but it's not clean. It's not healthy. I take some energy, some ID Life energy. Now they got a great flavor too. Blue Raz, man, it's delicious. I don't get jitters. I have energy. I have clarity and focus. It's insane to me. It is insane to me. So I jump on board. Brian, set me up with Value Life. I need these nutritions. Give me the genetics test, DNA. Let's do this. I need to get my body really healthy, right? Not pretend healthy, really healthy. Not masking it, not, oh, I'm super healthy, I go to the gym, but I eat like shit and I don't give myself what it needs. No, real healthy. So I'm on board. And as fate would have it, guess what's this last weekend? Friday, Saturday. ID Life's business conference for the entire company. They call it 2025, Revolution 2025. Brian's like, hey, you got to go to this. You're going to learn some stuff. It's going to be great. I know how conferences work. I used to speak at a lot of conferences. I know what it is. It's a lot of hype. But I also know that if you're in the right mindset, you can go and you can learn an enormous amount of information. An enormous amount of information. And if you go with the right mindset, you can be inspired, you can find your own personal spark. So I went with the mindset, certainly of, I'm going to go and learn. But I'm also going to go and I'm going to vet this company. I've been to lots of these conferences. I've seen lots of like the big wigs, the owners, the administrators, all these people who are super amazing, the high performers in a network marketing company, and they get on stage and they do all the hype and yeah, you're great and you can do it. And you're go get a mom and all this, you know. And then you never see those friggin' sons of bitches ever again. Let me tell you how it went. Okay? And I wrote this down so I could actually be really articulate here because this matters to me. Whew. I'm gonna get emotional. For sure I am. Whew. Standing in the room. Standing in that room at Revolution 2025, I was surrounded by people who were all leading with integrity and who are living with a purpose. Lots of them did different things, but they all had a few things in common. They had a mission, they had a purpose, and they wanted to feel better, and they want the world to feel better. When you feel better, you look better. It's kind of a perk. When you look better and you feel better, you can perform better. Whatever it is you do will improve. So I went, and as I was there, I kind of had this epiphany moment, and I realized it's not enough just to believe in some mission and have the logic. It's time to be your mission. I don't know what your mission is. I have a mission. It's to help heal people. It's to help heal people through love, creativity, and to help people find their peak self so that they're not walking, jogging, or even running in life. That they're fucking flying and bringing people up with them. We're meant to just soar, you guys. So I'm sitting there, and ID Life rolls out this whole new kind of opportunity. And it resonated a ton with me. They called it Reset 360. Focused on gut health, lean muscle, sustained energy, mental clarity, and then some really freaking Hogwarts magic shit. Cellular nutrition. Getting your cells, what the I'm blown away, you guys. I don't know how to get my cells nutrition. They freaking do. Holy shit. So I'm sitting there going, okay, let's test this. So this is my next step. I want to keep building to Peak Brodie. I have to treat my body like the foundation it is and not an afterthought. Because here's what I know. When your body feels good, your mind can work at peak. Your emotional can work at peak. Your spiritual can work at peak. When your body doesn't feel good, your mental health will plateau. Period. Coming from a counselor. You don't believe it? Go look up some shit. I promise you that's how it is. I promise you that's how it is. I meet people all the time. I meet counselors who are stressed out. How are you going to help someone overcome their stress if you're not overcoming yours and then you're not managing yours? How are you going to help someone reach a peak level of themselves, their best self, which is a phrase that drives me nuts, but I want to be my best self. I want to be Peak Brodie. You're not going to do it if you only attend to certain things, and it's not going to happen if you don't take care of your body, period. The other stuff will come, I promise you. So that's it. This month, I'm committing to my physical improvement. I'm doing the Reset 360. You want to join me? Shoot me a message. I will set you up. But it's a full 360. Everything in my body is going to get an overhaul. It's going to get reset. And in 30 days, I'll tell you exactly how I feel inside. I'm going to show you exactly how I look on the outside. That terrifies me too, for the record. And that's what's going to happen. Starting with day one, which was Sunday. That's exactly what I did. And I actually, I got a mantra that I want to share with you just about making the choice. Because what we do on the outside, it's going to follow what we do on the inside. And so this time I really want to reset. I want to reset everything. And I want to make it permanent. I'm looking for a full lifestyle change and reset. So today, here's my mantra. I choose to lead my life with strength, clarity, and purpose. I honor my body as the foundation of my mind, my emotions, and my spirit. Every choice I make today builds a stronger version of me. I'm resetting not because I'm broken, but because I am becoming. My energy is sustained. My mind is sharp. My heart is unbreakable. And where my power comes from. I am aligned. I am action. And I am unstoppable. Peak Brodie is not a dream. It is a decision. And today, I make that decision and choose Peak Brodie every day. That's my new mantra. So I'm stepping in, and I'm going to do that boldly. I am going to serve relentlessly. If I work with you as a client, you're going to see I'm going to improve. I'm going to take care of you better. If you're interested in changing and growing and cultivating better nutrition, I got you. Hit me up. I will put you on the right path. And you don't have to know shit. For the record, I'm not going to explain shit to you because I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know how it feels, and I just know that it's working. And for me, that's enough. I'm going to prove the rest of it on the way. So here's the deal, and thank you if you've made it this far with me. Man, I appreciate it. It means you're willing to sit with the real stuff and not just that polished bullshit. So maybe, just maybe, you felt a little bit of what I've described. Maybe you've had your own season of losing yourself, and maybe you're in it right now. If that's you, I want to leave you with something real, something that helped me find my way back. And this is how I have started to deal and started to shift how I work with my own fear and anxiety. And it's real. I mean, it's real, feels real. But let me help explain. Fear comes up when we're in danger. Step outside, see a bear, I'm going to have some fear. Step outside, see a bear, I'm going to have some fear. I'm in real danger. That's appropriate. If I'm in real fear, I need to act, and I need to act quickly, right? But anxiety is imagining problems or imagining future fear. It doesn't exist. Right now is what exists. Anxiety is fantasy. It is make-believe fear that we cling to. And then it controls us. It becomes our identity and it controls us. So when that comes up, I pause. And this is what I'd encourage you to do, is pause. Take a deep breath. Slow your nervous system down. And then ask yourself, am I facing real danger? Do I need to act right now? If you are, act. Get after it, man. Do something. Or imagining a possible danger. If I'm imagining a possible danger, I'm in my head of anxiety. If it's imagined, I gotta name it. I gotta shine some light on it, and then I gotta shrink that little bastard shadow. So here's the deal. I'm gonna ask myself, what is this fear or anxiety, this projection that I have, what's it trying to protect me from? For me, often, and here's my biggest fear. This is the peak of my session right now today. My biggest fear is that I am afraid to shine my light, because I've been afraid that if I do that, I'm gonna fail anyway, and no one's gonna care, and I'm not gonna be valuable or worth anything. I'm gonna try my hardest and fail. That's my biggest fear. I feel like if I try that, I'm gonna be embarrassed. I feel like I'm gonna be rejected. I feel like I'm gonna be a failure. And I'm terrified to look stupid. I hate it. I really do. And all of those come from fantasy projection. So I ask myself, what is this fear that I'm feeling? What is this anxiety I'm feeling? What's it trying to do? It's trying to protect me from that. It's trying to protect me from feeling embarrassed and rejected. So I named it. Now, I'm actually going to thank it. I'm going to talk to myself. And if you're uncomfortable doing this, I suggest you learn how to get comfortable doing it, because it is amazing. But I'm going to thank my fear. Thank you, anxiety. Thank you. I know you're trying to help and protect me, but I'm already safe right now. So I'm going to choose courage over fear. I name it. I actually give it some appreciation. I know what my brain and my ego is trying to do. I'm afraid to fail. I don't want to fail. So my brain and my body says, oh, well, let's not do that. That's make-believe. I'm going to choose courage anyway. Fear shows you what matters to you. Anxiety shows you that you need to trust yourself more, which is what I'm doing now. I'm just going to start trusting myself. And I'm going to trust that the people who say that they're in community with me and that they're willing to support me, I trust that they will. And I'm going to trust myself to support them. So the truth is, you don't rebuild your life overnight. You don't just snap your fingers and wake up healed. You choose moment by moment, messy, freaking shitty moment by moment, to move a little closer to who you were meant to be. Today, I'm choosing to move forward with purpose and intention. I'm choosing to show up as Peak Brodie. Not the guy who never falls or falters, but the guy who, when he falls, gets up cleaner, stronger, more confident, and bolder than he did before. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to my story. And thanks for being part of this. Life is better when we do it together. So thank you for doing some life with me. And if you want to continue to do some life with me, I got you. Follow me on social media, Life Together with Brodie. Subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube page, whatever. Connect with me in some way. Shoot me a message. I'm going to get on my social media a few times a day. If you send me a message, I'll respond. Because I want you to reach peak you. If you need nutrition, I'm going to set you up. I got you. You need some spiritual support? I got you. I'm going to set you up. You need some psychological support? I got you. Parents, your kid's driving you freaking nuts? Trust me, I got you. I can help you out. Let me serve you. Let me do what I can to help you. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for doing some life with me. Go out, show yourself some love. Take care of your physical well-being. It will improve your mental and emotional well-being.